I'm Dido Harding, Chief Executive of TalkTalk. I think that certainly for my generation of female leaders, when we were going through our 20s and 30s, there were very, very few role models of senior business women. And as a result, an awful lot of people sort of fell off the track simply through not knowing how to navigate it. So I count myself as extremely lucky that I've had a couple of great mentors that actually who I didn't really know were mentors along the way, that have guided me and helped me get to where I wanted to. And I think it's quite incumbent on those of us that have found a route through to work out how we help pull other people through in the next generation. I love my job. I love the variety of being a CEO. It is unbelievably varied every day. I love the fact that I'm the captain of the ship. That if the ship crashes on rocks, it is my fault. But if the ship sails well, I get huge personal satisfaction from watching the shaping of an organisation and of a large team of people in an endeavour that they are proud of when they get right. So it's enormously fulfilling when it goes right, utterly terrifying when it's going wrong. I probably know that more than most CEOs. And I love that combination. I am most proud of the business I'm sitting in as we speak, the creation of a business called TalkTalk. I led TalkTalk as we demerged, and 7 years ago nobody would say that they worked for TalkTalk. Everyone was X something. Whereas today, everyone who works for TalkTalk is really proud of working for TalkTalk. It's been a huge roller coaster ride with ups and big downs, but actually I'm enormously proud of having created a business that I think is a good thing, that brings affordable, fair, simple, reliable, really important products. We live on the digital world to everyone in the UK. And I'm incredibly proud of the role that I and my team have played in creating that. And I could talk for a very, very long time about what I've learned. Learned lots about myself and learned lots about a sector I knew nothing about when I began. I think the most important thing I've learned in my journey here is to be comfortable being me. I spent at least a decade trying to pretend to be a different kind of female leader, maybe more of a man than a woman, in supermarket retailing. And one of the brilliant things about my industry is that I am actually sufficiently odd and unusual in technology that I can just be me. And once I worked out that I was better when I stopped pretending to be someone else, not only was I much happier, but I was much, much more effective. So if I look back, I wish I'd known that 20 years ago. Maybe it's something that only comes with age and a few hard knocks, but I am definitely the wiser for trusting my own instincts rather than pretending to be someone else. I strike the balance between being a CEO and a mother incredibly badly, I think. Like every working parent, it is a constant balancing act. I think that becoming a parent, and it seems maybe unfairly to be particularly becoming a mother, comes with an enormous dose of guilt. Whatever you do, you feel guilty that you're not doing it well enough. And I am constantly wrestling with my conscience on whether or not I'm spending enough time in each place. But I think I am both a better mum and a better CEO for being a parent. It's certainly given me a reason for not being quite such a workaholic. And I think I'm a much more measured and loving mother because I've got other things in my life too. So I wouldn't swap it for the world. It's the best thing I ever did to start a family. But I could no more be a full-time parent myself than jump the moon. I am much, much better with that juggling act every day. One of the biggest challenges for women in business is how we help everyone, men and women, recognise their unconscious bias. I think the vast majority of people that I work with and have worked with all my working life are not consciously trying to discriminate against women in the workforce. But all of us make assumptions about people. And I think it's incredibly hard to tackle that unconscious bias. And I think that's the biggest prize. So, for example, when you're thinking about who's the right person for a job that involves a lot of international travel, it is only human, I fear, to sort of assume that a recently young mum is going to think twice about the job. But if you haven't asked her, how do you know? And we're all tempted not to ask. So I think it's not the conscious bias or the blatant sexism, it's the unconscious, often sort of kind-hearted thinking that is the biggest challenge that we've all got to surmount. And actually it is, female leaders are just as guilty of making those assumptions as male ones. Yeah, and TalkTalk is a very young company, so we've only existed on our own for 7 years. Average age is just over 30, and we're slightly mad, and we're proud of being slightly mad. We like to think that we will tackle problems that other people won't. One of our values is to say we like to zig where the rest of the world zags. Because the definition of a brilliant idea is one that everyone else thinks is wrong, you think is right, and turns out to be right. We're a slightly wacky place, and it means that our people say that off the scale, this is a company that allows you to be yourself. So when we ask people, you know, how do they rate I can be myself at work, we're world class at that. And you know, if you look around the building, it is a very mixed environment, different shapes, sizes, skills, colours, ethnicity, sexual preference, you name it. But, and it's quite a big but, I don't think we are actually as good as we might appear superficially, and I'm personally quite committed to working out how we particularly become better at promoting people from different races. We're not very good at that. We're still quite white and Anglo-Saxon. You've got a female CEO, but I don't think I've got enough strength in depth of female talent coming up through my engineering pipeline, no different from any other technology company. So I'm not sort of sitting back and saying it's all good. It's never good enough. But I am very proud of the fact that whatever your background, people like working here because they feel like they don't have to conform. I worry hugely that I create a very long shadow for my 2 little girls. Well, they're not that little now, they're 9 and 10. And so while I didn't have female leadership role models as I was growing up, I fear that I create too scary a role model. My youngest daughter, when I was offered a peerage, when I came into the House of Lords and took my seat, she was 8, and she said, "But Mummy, you know, what am I going to do that means that I get into the House of Lords?" And it scared me hugely that at 8 she was thinking that that was the benchmark she should aim for. Highly questionable as the thing she should be aiming for anyway. But I worry that they're sort of too proud of their mother. I want them to think of anything they choose to do in life as being much more precious to me than anything I do in my career. And you know, that's quite hard if you see Mum on the telly quite often. My number one piece of advice is be yourself. Don't let society dictate what kind of a career you should have, what balance you should have between work and play, family and career, because there isn't one right answer. There's only the answer that's right for you. And you know, have the confidence to trust your own judgment, listen to different people's advice, learn from different people. But in the end, you know, you'll know what's right for you, not someone else. So when I first met the Womba team, they absolutely struck a chord with me because it feels completely right that it's a moment in parents' life where it can be a huge learning opportunity, that you can end up a much stronger, better leader to do whatever it is that you want to do as a parent. And I think they're onto something really rather special that could transform the lives and careers of the people that they're working with. And in the process, spark some great and very different career journeys.